Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week. Rumors from far and wide suggest that Romulus and Remus, the twin founders of Rome, were abandoned as babies. A female wolf then found them in a basket on the bank of the Tiber River, raising them herself. In the long run, the twins established the incredible city on Palatine Hill, the very spot where the she-wolf had looked after them. Many consider this as just a myth. However, history does flourish with genuine accounts of children who actually were raised by wild animals. We're going to talk about 10 such incredible stories here. Number 10. Russian Bird Boy. Locked in a room surrounded by bird cages, a Russian boy was raised like a pet bird by his abusive alcoholic mother. Though she didn't physically harm him, she left him alone without any food to live with the birds. After he was found, he hadn't learned to speak any Russian. He just kept chirping like a bird all day. And to this day, though he wasn't physically harmed, he's still unable to carry on regular human interaction. To observe and care for him, he's been moved to a mental care rehabilitation center by professionals. Number 9. Marina Chapman. Marina was abducted at only 5 years old from a far-off South American town, then abandoned by her abductors in the wilderness. She soon after lived with a group of little capuchin monkeys for quite some time before trackers found her. During her time with the monkeys, she ate berries, roots, and bananas dropped by her adopted family. She also stayed in openings in trees and walked using both her hands and feet, similar to monkeys. Once, when she was suffering food poisoning, an older monkey even led her to a pool of water and helped her drink. Marina befriended the monkeys and figured out how to climb trees. But these days, Marina is married and is an author, writing a book on her earlier wilderness experiences. Number 8. Ugandan Monkey Boy. John was either 2 or 3, no one's certain, when his parents Paul and Molly gave him the worst birthday present ever. His father killed his mother, with John escaping for his life into the wilderness, terrified he'd be killed too. But his father was found not long after hanged. For the following 8 to 12 months, John lived wild, earning the trust of monkeys. He claims he can't recall well the first time the monkeys came near to him, but they did offer him roots, nuts, and cassava after 14 days of observing him to ensure he wasn't dangerous. After, the monkeys invited him to join them, where they searched for food and climbed trees. Sometime later, John was found and captured by humans. He did struggle against his captors, with the monkeys throwing sticks at the humans, but it was no use. However, John's fine now, and he's learned how to speak and can also sing. Number 7. Victor of Aveyron. In the late 18th century, a 12-year-old child was caught naked in the Coon Woods in France, looking for oak seeds and roots to eat. The child was named Victor, and was regularly alluded to as the Wild Boy of Aveyron. Curious logicians and researchers observed and studied Victor, fascinated at when language and human conduct would begin. However, due to his cognitive impairments, very little progress was made. Even after 5 years of living with humans, Victor could only recognize a few composed words and expressions referring to items and activities, as well as understanding differences in sizes. Though he could use word cards to express some of his desires, in the end, he couldn't learn how to speak. Number 6. Lobo Wolf Girl. In 1845, a strange young girl was seen with a pack of wolves assaulting a herd of goats close to San Felipe, Mexico. The story resumed the following year when the girl was seen again, this time eating the raw flesh from a newly killed goat. And as the story continues, frightened neighborhood residents searched for the girl days after, at last catching her. All through the night, she howled, drawing in a bunch of wolves that raced into the town upon hearing her howls for help. During all of this, she managed to slip away from where she was being kept. And then she wasn't seen again until 1852, when she was allegedly spotted nursing 2 wolf offspring. Alerted after being spotted, she gathered the cubs to her and ran into the forest, never heard from again. Number 5. Sujit the Chicken Boy. As a small child, Sujit displayed abnormal behavior. Later, his family trapped him in a chicken den. His mother committed suicide and his father was killed not long after. Therefore, his grandfather assumed liability for Sujit, yet he also kept the boy locked in the chicken den. Sujit was 8 years old when he was found roaming a street, fluttering and making noises similar to a chicken. He pecked at his food, squatted on a seat, and would make quick clicking sounds with his tongue. And, just like chickens, he would turn all of his fingers inwards. With his escalating behavior, he was taken to an elderly care home, but he was so forceful and dangerous, the workers kept him attached with bed sheets to his bed for over 20 years. Currently, Sujit is over 30 years old, looked after by Elizabeth Clayton, who protects him from the workers and residents of the home. Number 4. The Leopard Boy. In 1912, a 2-year-old boy was captured by a leopard. Surprisingly, the leopard didn't kill him. After 3 years, a tracker killed the leopard and captured the 3 cubs he found, which included the then 5-year-old child, whom the tracker naturally returned to his family. But right from the beginning, the boy acted like a leopard. Using his hands and legs, he would run as fast as he could while maintaining a squatting position. His knees were covered in hard calluses, his toes were bowed up standing nearly at right points to his instep, and his palms, toes, and thumbs were covered with patched hard skin. The boy also nibbled and attacked any person who approached him. Most disturbingly, he subsisted on eating all of the village's raw, rotten meat. Unable to talk, he grunted and snorted to communicate. But after some time, he did figure out how to walk upright. Unfortunately, he ended up becoming blind from cataracts. Number 3. Kamala and Amala. Kamala, 8 years old, and Amala, 1.5 years old, were found in a wolf's shelter. This is, perhaps, the most well-known story of wild children. The girls looked horrible. Their ligaments and joints in their arms and legs were abbreviated, and they ran on the ground in such a manner that they didn't seem human. When they were first caught, both girls wrapped up together, ripped apart their clothes, consumed only raw meat, and howled all day. They wouldn't cooperate with any humans. Sadly, Amala passed away the year after they'd been caught. Kamala, though, was taught how to walk upright and say a couple words. But sadly, she also passed on following 9 years after she'd been caught per kidney issues. The story is highly controversial since there was such an age gap between the girls. This has led many people to think they were caught in different places, meaning they weren't sisters. Number 2. Ukrainian girl dog. Oksana Malaya was found in Ukraine in 1994. A neighbor nearby claimed that a girl was living in the forest nearby. Soon after, authorities found her living with a bunch of wild dogs. Naturally, as the dogs had accepted her as a member of their pack, they shielded her. Only when the officials bribed the dogs with treats to distract them did they manage to capture Malaya. It was generally accepted that she'd lived with the dogs for around 5 years. As Malaya later explained, when she was around 3, her parents left her outside one evening. Curious, Malaya crept into a nearby cottage where some wild dogs lived. Oddly, her family didn't go searching for her, so the dogs ended up embracing her. During that time, Malaya forgot many essential language functions and social abilities. In 2013, though, Malaya made an appearance on Ukrainian TV to relate her story. Currently, she resides on a ranch with her partner, focusing on loving and raising farm animals. Number 1. Cambodian Jungle Girl. While looking after buffalo along the edge of the wilderness in Cambodia, 8-year-old Rocham Pinyang became lost and then vanished. Shockingly, after 18 years, in 2007, a man saw a naked woman sneaking around his property, seemingly trying to steal rice. It was a particular scar on her back that enabled her to be identified. Her father, a 70-year-old Vietnamese man named Peyo, said he realized it was his little girl when he saw her photos on Facebook. Though people tried to help her, Rocham Pinyang couldn't grasp the language or adjust to the local culture, so she escaped back into the wilderness in May 2010. There's been mixed reports concerning her location and sightings since that time. Assuming she'd been living wild for over 15 years, people started calling her Jungle Woman. That is all for today's video. Thank you all for watching. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos on your screen. See you there!